Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. If you're new here, welcome to my channel where I post self-improvement content and feel-good vlogs. Now, today's video is slightly different. I'll be talking about the fact that you should not listen to other people and what other people have to say and others' opinions and what other people think that you should be doing, etc, etc. Now, why am I talking about this topic today? Well, it is because I'm currently reading a book about self-confidence, and I came across a chapter where I started reading real stories about people's experiences with their self-confidence and how other people basically have diminished their self-esteem and confidence for basically the rest of their lives. Now, I was literally finding myself tearing up when I was reading this chapter, and it was really, really sad for me to hear and listen to other stories of when people have experienced instances in their lives where either a teacher or a parent would basically criticize them and make them feel like they're not good enough. And I'll tell you a few stories. So one story was about a boy that lost his confidence in riding a bike. And this started very early on when he was basically probably like, I don't know, early teens. And he got a bike and he had a stepdad that would constantly criticize him, and this stepdad would constantly diminish his self-confidence in riding the bike. He would call him fat, he would tell him he's not good enough, he's not competent, that he'll never know how to ride a bike. This kid would even take his parents outside onto the driveway to kind of show them how he learned to ride a bike and show off his new skills, to purely just get criticized again and get told that you'll never be good enough. And so this boy basically took on this criticism and all of a sudden stopped believing in himself and stopped riding his bike. And at the end of the story, this guy basically ended up running after his friends that were riding their bikes on the road, and yeah, he would just run behind them. And a couple years later, this boy decided to start riding his bike again, but then realized that this bike was then too small for him and he couldn't ride the bike. And this story just got me so sad, because that's the influence that people's words can have on someone. And it can be really detrimental to your success, your self-confidence, your self-beliefs. And I would love to talk more deeply about this topic of self-confidence, but I'm just going to talk about this one specific aspect that really, really caught me off guard, because it's just something that we don't really think on a regular basis. We don't think about it every day. We just go on with our lives and we think that maybe we're just born with low self-esteem, with low confidence and stuff like that. And sometimes we think that it's us being our own worst critic, when in reality, most of the time it's you taking on the criticism and opinions of other people, especially when it's like family members or teachers at school. And there was another story as well of the author of this book who talks about his school days and how his school days have really affected his success. And in a bad way, by the way. So he said that he did very well in his GCSEs and he was lined up for a job at the bank. But already having his GCSEs was like a huge accomplishment within his family, because none of the family members have gone and done their GCSEs. So he was the first family member to kind of reach this accomplishment. And so he had his job lined up to work at the bank, and he actually thought to himself, you know what, I would love to go to a polytechnic, because he thought, I'm not good enough to go to uni. I would love the idea of going to Polytechnic. And he kind of really loved the idea of it. And in the end, he ended up going to have a chat with his teacher, and kind of asked his teacher for advice, asked his teacher if he thinks he's good enough to go to a Polytechnic. And the teacher basically told him, no, like, you should stick to your job at the bank. It just will make sure you're secure because you're basically not good enough to go to Polytechnic. Long story short, okay? And this guy did exactly that. He took his advice, he never went to Polytechnic, and guess what? He actually finished his A-levels and his results were good enough to even get him into university. Now, he didn't reach his success. He didn't end up going to uni purely because of what the teacher had told him, that he's not good enough and that he should stick with the job at the bank. Can you believe the effects that other people's opinions has on us? Can you actually believe it? And I'm pretty sure, like, you also have, or I'm sure you have an instance as well in your life where someone has given you some advice. Maybe it's out of love, maybe it's out of their own fear, maybe because they're scared that something will go wrong. Regardless, right? Regardless, I'm sure you have an instance in your life that you can look back at and remember a time where someone has diminished your confidence, or someone says something to you that made you not want to continue with your goals anymore, or maybe you had a wish and that wish turned into nothingness purely because of something someone had said. And guys, this breaks my heart, okay? And sometimes you need to just listen of the stories of other people and how it has affected them to really kind of get some compassion and realize, oh my God, like, this person thought he's not good enough just because of what that person has told them. That is actually crazy. That's actually crazy. But guess what? You are doing the exact same thing. Most likely, most people take on the advice of other people and then they never end up chasing their dreams, chasing their goals, or doing actually what they want to do in life. And guys, this breaks my heart. And I'll give you a story of my own. So for example, I was at school, right? And I had one teacher in a particular subject, okay, that I did for A-levels. And there was someone in the class that was bullying me, turned against me. We used to be friends, okay? But this person turned into a bully, and all of a sudden I started feeling really uncomfortable in the class. Like, it was really a struggle for me to attend the class as it was anyway. But I always felt like the worst student in that class, and by the way, that class didn't have many students in it, but I always felt like I'm the incompetent one, I'm the one that can't do very well in this subject, like I'm the one that always has to struggle. And I was constantly compare myself to the other students that were like A+ students, right? They were like, they knew what they were doing basically. And it was very obvious that they were doing better than me. But because of this instance, the teacher lost complete belief in me and decided to completely, basically ignore me in the class. She would give me less attention because she knew that I was doing worse than the other students. But in reality, I was actually just struggling. And if anything, I needed more attention and more help from her, right? But that was not the case. And I kind of felt like left out, and I felt like I was not good enough. And in the end, basically, there was a parenting conference, and I remember my mum telling the teacher, like, this is ridiculous, you are the teacher, you should be the one putting in more effort in helping me, you know. And her answer was, yeah, but it doesn't matter because this is not what you want to pursue in your career, the subject, right, that I was doing at school. And guys, this was for my A level, so it was quite a significant part of my life in a way. You know, it is important because the grades get me into a better uni. Like, if I would do better, the better I would do, basically, the further I would go. But it was kind of like, what on earth? Like, as a teacher, you should really care about bringing the same attention to all the students and not be so like unjust as a teacher, you know. And it really knocked down my self-confidence, and I ended up getting a really bad grade in that subject, and that is just like so sad, right? And I think my self-belief also got knocked down, or got knocked out the window, my self-confidence and everything, basically. And that is just like one instance that I feel comfortable sharing, but there are many, 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 many instances in my life where something like that has happened, or something even worse has happened, and my confidence got knocked the hell down. And guys, it's really sad, honestly, it's really sad. And I'm not the only person. I mean, I know so many people around me that have come across or have experienced something like this. And I'm here to tell you, I hope these stories have made you realize that you're not the only one that used to or are still getting criticized, or are getting, you know, other people's opinions thrown at you. And I just have to say one thing: please don't pay attention, and please don't take these opinions into account, because they don't mean a thing. Just because one person has had a bad experience doesn't mean that you will. Just because one person has read the news and heard something bad about the thing that you want to do doesn't mean that it's actually bad. Just because that one person is fearing that something's going to go wrong, something's going to get in your way, doesn't mean that that is actually going to happen. Just because someone thinks you're incompetent doesn't mean that you're actually incompetent, right? And I just want you to remember that you should not, in any circumstance, listen to other people's opinions. Never ask for other people's opinions on what you want to do. If you have something in mind and you want to do something that you've always dreamed of, and this again, like, so often has to do with like the career path we want to take, or who we want to be when we grow up. It's very oftentimes like our dreams or aspirations that get knocked down, because sometimes like people that dream big, they tend to often hear this advice of like, who do you think you are to do that? Why don't you do another profession? Or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it gets in your head. So I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't listen to what other people have to say, okay? Don't listen to it. Follow your heart. Only you know up here what you're capable of, okay? When I was in that class at school, I totally knew that I was capable. I was absolutely capable of doing very well in that subject. But I allowed other people and the teacher influence my self-esteem and self-belief that actually I can do this. Okay, my confidence got knocked down completely. And I just want you to think to yourself, okay, this is their opinion, and this opinion doesn't matter. Their opinion, like, does not influence me whatsoever. Okay, their opinion is their opinion, and their opinion can stay over there and I'll be over here. Like, you just focus on you. Do what you've always wanted to do, and don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to your parents. Don't listen to your friends. Nothing. Obviously, there are instances where, you know, someone maybe has to tell you the truth, and you sometimes have to listen to what someone has to say. Maybe it's good advice. But I'm talking about when you have a dream and you want to go for it. Don't even ask, because you're going to get confused, you're going to get lost, you're going to start overthinking, you're going to start doubting yourself, you're going to think, oh, maybe this isn't possible after all, maybe I was being a bit too delusional, etc., etc. And honey, it doesn't work that way. You have to be delusional. You have to just keep your vision, keep your focus like this. If you know where you want to head, just go for it, and just completely shut your ears off to what everyone else has to say. And yeah, and that's it. That's all I wanted to say. And don't take it personal. Honestly, don't take these things personal. Like, you are capable of everything. You are powerful, and that's it. All right, guys, thank you very much for listening to another Feel Good Talk. I'll be back soon with another vlog. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys and all the people that are subscribing as well. Thank you very much for subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.